Hey guys, JC again. Today we're going to talk a little bit about mindset and motivation. Now, I've done a video before on motivation and why action should always precede motivation, especially if you struggle with being motivated all the time. So I'm not going to cover that as much as I did in that video, but one thing I want to talk a little bit about is the process. So we have outcome-oriented goals. So you want to be a certain weight at a certain time. So maybe you want to lose 15 pounds in the next 8 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever. That's an outcome-oriented goal. That's very much in the future, and it is the idea that you've set yourself up for this certain time in the future, and this is how it's going to be. As a result of that, you tend to work really hard based on that goal. Problem with that is depending on your current situation and your exercise history and how you respond to nutrition and however you react to the training and everything as a whole could very much alter or could delay your results based on what you think is right for you. So again, you may think that you should lose 15 pounds in 12 weeks, but in reality, with your current situation, stress, ability to train frequently, and how you do on the diet, it might take you 20 weeks or 30 weeks or even longer. So you can probably see that an outcome focused goal can actually be short-sighted, and it can also set you up for just feeling like a failure in general. So if you are on week 8 and you've only lost 2 pounds when you really want to lose 15, and you've only lost 2 pounds because a lot of stuff came up, you either had to go out of town or you had a business trip or you ended up falling off the bandwagon for a little bit. Whatever happens, you may become incredibly demotivated because you promised yourself you'd be at a certain place in a certain time, and now you're nowhere near that. So outcome-oriented goals, outcome-focused goals can be dangerous and can also be very demotivating depending on the type of person you are and how you approach your training and nutrition and your goals in general. What I like to help people understand is that I think process-oriented goals, a process focus, is much more empowering, much better for the long run, and it keeps you present. It keeps you in the now. It keeps you focused on what you have to do today. And in my own life, I try to apply this as much as I can. I may have a certain deadline of when I want something done or when I want to accomplish something, but when it all comes down to it, everything is based on what I can do right now. If I need to write a certain amount of words, if I need to write 30,000 words for a book, and I want to have this done in, 3 months, whatever, arbitrary, doesn't matter. If I want to have it done in a certain amount of time, I know that it's going to require a certain amount of work every single day. And I know that just because I write 1,000 words every day doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to end up with 1,000 great words at the end of that day. It might end up being 500, it might be 600. Whatever it is, I know that there's a certain process that I have to do on a daily basis. And so I have to put in that work no matter what. So when I get closer to the ideal timeline, whatever that may be, I'll know that I've put in the time on a consistent basis, such as the process, to make it happen. To put that all into perspective, let's say I wanted to write a 30,000 word book, short book, in 90 days, and I committed to 1,000 words a day. Now, that might be a pretty big chunk to bite off at once, but let's just say that I got on average 500 words a day. Maybe I didn't reach 1,000 every single day. By the end of that time frame, if I committed to 500 to 1,000 words a day, I would have at least 45,000 words, which is 15,000 more than what I originally bargained for. Now, I might not keep all those words, obviously, and with a great editor, I'd cut that down. The point is if I stick to the process on a daily basis, I'm going to get to my goal no matter what. Even if I didn't have a deadline, so to speak, and I still stuck to that process, I'm still going to reach my goal. And the same goes with training and nutrition. The more you can stay focused on what you have to do on a daily basis, the more you can get sold to the process of doing it, the better off you're going to be. And instead of hoping to lose 15 pounds in 12 weeks, what if you just committed to losing 15 pounds and you didn't care so much whether it happened in 12 weeks or 24 weeks? All you knew is that you had to commit to the process on a daily basis. And the process means training right and training frequently, going to the gym 4 times a week if that's what's in your program, making sure that you're planning your meals and keeping your meal times and food choices fairly regimented so you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about what you're going to have today. You wake up, you know what your breakfast is going to be, you know what your lunch is going to be, and the same for post-workout meal and your dinner. You know exactly what it's going to be, so you don't have to think so much about it. And this is all part of the process. Same as going to bed at a certain time every night, making sure that you get enough sleep and rest so you can think clearly and you can do the things you need to do, such as training and eating right and sticking to that ritual. And when you make the process the thing you focus on the most, you can't really get lost too much in the outcome. You still have the outcome-based goal. You know where you want to be, but you don't have to feel the pressure of needing to accomplish it in a certain amount of time. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to people that have to get ready for powerlifting meets or physique competitions. And I'm not talking to those people, because if that's what you're focused on, then yes, you need to be a little more outcome-oriented. But for those who want to build a better body and be proud of what they've done and get really wrapped up in the habits of training and eating right and resting, then the best thing to do is take a process-oriented approach. One of the things I mentioned in my mindset and motivation guide is the idea of mindfulness. Now, if you're not really into meditation, that's fine. You don't have to become a Zen Buddhist monk to learn how to apply this to your life. But mindfulness is really simple in the fact that you just pay attention to what you're doing now. I've written about this a couple times. I've talked about this on podcasts. But to put it in very simple terms, you can understand it now. When you go to the gym, get out of your phone. You don't have to be sending text messages in between sets. You don't have to be checking your email. You know, if you're going to use your phone, use it as a timer or use it as a place where you can log your training. Maybe you use the Note app or you use Vitocracy or weighttraining.com, something like that. It doesn't really matter, but stay out of your phone. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on lifting. Focus on how it feels. And stay in that moment. You know, you don't have to worry about other things while you're at the gym. Just get it done. You're going to spend 30 to 40 minutes on your session anyway. Put all your attention on that. Same thing goes with your nutrition. Whenever you get home, you know that you got to eat a meal. You know that you got to prepare your dinner. Take the time to do that and focus on that. Get lost in that process. Because the more distracted you are, the more you're scattered when it comes to everything trying to get your attention, you're not really going to be sold to the process. It's easy to become anxious. It's easy to become overwhelmed. But if you always bring it back to what you're doing right now and you focus on just that thing, it tends to be much easier. So at the end of the day, I am sold on process-oriented goals. And if you want to get really good at achieving what you want to achieve, I would encourage you to fall in love with the process. Understand that it doesn't matter if you get there in 12 weeks, 24 weeks, 48 weeks, 2 years. It doesn't matter. As long as you get to where you want to be and you're sold and committed to a process that you can continue doing for the rest of your life, that's what matters the most. Instead of having an outcome-oriented goal that you work really hard for, you get there and then you find yourself saying, wow, what's next? What do I need to do? Where do I go from here? Because there's no process in that. Once you reach that goal, you're kind of stuck wondering what's next. But if you focus on the process and you make that your goal, you end up hitting your goal and still staying stuck in the process, and you can keep this up forever. Those are my thoughts on the process. I encourage you to take a process-oriented approach to your fitness goals. And thanks for watching. I'm JC Dean. I'll see you next time.